So welcome and happy Black History Month, everyone. I'm going to do the roll call starting with community boards. Board 1, Community Board 2, Community Board 3. Thank you. Community Board 4. Thank you. Community Board 5. Thank you. Community Board 6. Thank you. Community Board 7. Community Board 8. Thank you. Community Board 9. Thank you. Community Board 10. Community Board 11. Thank you. Community Board 12. Community Board 13. Thank you. Community Board 14. Community Board 15. Community Board 16. Your name, please? Thank you, Ms. Williams. Community Board 17. Community Board 18. We're going to move over to the council members. District 33. Thank you. District 34. District 35. District 36. Your name? Thank you. District 37. Thank you. District 38. District 39. District 40. District 41. District 42. District 43. Your name again? Okay, I don't have you on a designee sheet. For Zhuang, yeah. Okay, I'm going to make a note for that. I'm so sorry about this. 44. 45. Thank you. I also don't have a designee form right now, but I will make a note just to check. 46. Thank you. 47. 48. Thank you. 50. Thank you. And Karina Lozada Smith for BP Reynoso is present. We have a quorum. Okay, so you all received your agenda and your minutes for today. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda for? Oh, sorry. Your name, please? Thank you. Got it. So, do we have a motion for approval of the minutes? Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. Are there any objections to the approval for the agenda for tonight? Seeing none, we're going to move to item 3 on the agenda for approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections, questions, concerns about our minutes for January 7th, 2024 meeting? Seeing none, do I have a motion for the approval of the minutes? Thank you, Chair Baptiste. Do I have a second? Thank you, Jenny. Do we have any objections to the approval of the minutes? Seeing none, moving on to our Borough Hall and member updates. Again, happy Black History Month. As you all know, we're in the thick of community board application season. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your dogs. Kidding, not your dogs. But the applications will close on February 14th. If your people need paper applications, we're happy to help with that. They can pick them up here, or I know some of UCB offices have been helping with that, but you can also do it online. We have our free tax prep here in the building on Mondays and Wednesdays, and that will be until April 9th. We do have a flyer that goes out every week. If you need it, we can give that to you. It's for folks with incomes of 65,000 or less, or 93,000 or less if they have dependents. So there is an eligibility requirement, but please let your constituents know. As you also know, we're in our capital application season for fiscal year 26. Those close on February 20th. And so you can let your constituents know this is for infrastructure grants. We also have our 2025 Borough Culture Grant Program funding application. This is for our New York City Tourism Foundation grant. And so we're accepting these applications. These grants will help with marketing and promotion of arts and cultural programs and events. And it's for 501c3 cultural organizations that are based in Brooklyn. So you can apply by March 3rd. That's our deadline for 5 p.m. We will also be sending out the flyer and the email to you guys regarding that. We have our constituent services. On February 10th, we'll be at the Cortelyou Library. You can speak with our constituent services department and obviously, have your constituents bring any questions. We also will be there aside from the 10th, every other Monday until May 12th. So that's going to be a bi-weekly thing. The next date, of course, is going to be the 10th. So we'll be there from 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. It's going to be an all-day affair. Anyone can go to Cortelyou Library. Last on my list, on February 20th, there's a homeowners benefit and NOPV info session. It's going to be it's going to be hosted with our office and Department of Finance, and it's going to be held from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. here at Borough Hall. That's it for my Borough Hall updates. Do we have any members who want to give updates to the Borough Board? Okay, Jenny, please wait for the mic from CB13.
Test.
Thank you. And then Fred.
Good evening. So I want to give this update. Community Board 13 held 3 very controversial public meetings regarding a private application for a demapping action, and approval of the requested action will facilitate the development of a 1.3 million multi-use development, including a gaming facility, convention center, hotel, event space, parking, and other amenities in the Coney Island neighborhood. The application was rejected at the January General Board meeting by a vote of 24 in favor, 11 opposed, 8 abstained, 0 recusals, and 3 relinquished their votes. CB13 hopes the BP, City Council, and City Planning follow our lead. Thank you.
Chairperson Baptiste from CB9, and then Chairperson Loman.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I just wanted to make the announcement in terms of SUNY Downstate. So originally, starting from last year, there was a proposal for closure. So there was a hearing that happened earlier in the middle of last month. The date escapes me. So the governor had made an announcement that it is not going to close, but currently there are hearings and there's a community advisory board that's been established by the governor, which is set to hear recommendations on improvements for SUNY Downstate. So there has been $750 million that have been set aside, and they're asking for recommendations on how that money should be spent for capital and expense improvement. I wanted to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues from CB17 and CB14 as well for coming out. There are 2 more hearings that are scheduled. The next is scheduled for February 27th, is going to be at Medgar Evers College. So anyone who is interested, please go there. They are taking testimony at that time, so you can give suggestions on how you think it should be, the money should be spent. But I did want to make that one note in terms of while we are excited that closure is off the table, we also think that we want to make sure that we're advocating fully for the hospital in terms of the money that has been due over the years has not been fully done. And we want to make sure that there's a plan for sustainability, not just to kind of restore cuts. We want to make sure that this is something that's able to go. SUNY Downstate has a catchment of over 2 million people. So this is not just something that's in 17 or 9 or affecting 14. This is a Brooklyn issue. So we're asking for all chairs to please make sure you pass this on to your respective districts because they do take care of the heart of Brooklyn. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have Chairperson Loman here in the front.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Just want to bring a little information from CB5. CB5 now have a YouTube page, cb5.eny, where you can see all of our meetings, all of the committee meetings, and we did a PSA on joining the community board. So tell Mr. Reynoso to check that page out.
Thank you.
Wanted to also make mention that on January 30th, we had a special public board meeting in reference to Grace Housing Development. We approved through land use, we approved the zoning map amendment from the R5B to R6A, which is 197,000 square feet. It includes 139,000 square feet of residential space. There's going to be 68 parking spaces. They agreed to also, with the studios, go up from 350 square feet to 400, and the 1 bedrooms from 7 to 750, 2 bedrooms from, I think that was 800, and then they're gonna have a few 3 bedrooms also. We did also a letter of support for the remodeling of the New Lots Library, which is located 665 New Lots Avenue. Look out for that. And then we approved the City Bike Station, the installation at Vermont Place and Highland Boulevard. So that's it from CB5, but I ask all of my colleagues to look at the YouTube page and subscribe to it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So as a few folks have walked in, I'm just going to ask you to please let me know where you're coming from so I can record your attendance at 6:24. So I have Councilmember Mealy here. Thank you. And a few other people. Thank you so much. Your name? Thank you. Did I miss anyone else? Thank you so much. Councilmember Mealy, we were just doing member updates. Do you have any updates for the board that you'd like to say? I mean, the floor is yours. If not, we will move on to unfinished business. If you would like to speak, you can definitely take the floor. Here's the mic.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you.
I'm Councilmember Darlene Mealy of the 41st District, East Flatbush, Crown Heights, Ocean Hill, Brownsville, and Bedford-Stuyvesant. Every Monday, we have 2 free immigration lawyers at my office. And you know that City Council just put in $2 million to make sure that everyone know their rights in regards to how to handle ISIS and those other people coming for our people. And every Tuesday, we have free housing lawyers in my office. Please let people know about that. And on Wednesday, we have a housing, y'all have something to say? Huh? Oh, okay. Every Wednesday, we have a Housing Connect specialist to make sure you know how to do the applications for all these new apartments coming in. It is a certain way. You don't have to tell them about your Cash App or your Zelle. They exclude you when you do that. So please, if you know of anyone who need it, please tell them. And happy Valentine, because I will be in Albany for Valentine's Day. But if you're available, we're having a Valentine party also. February the 8th, Saturday, from 3 to 7 p.m. on the rooftop at 1435 Lincoln Place between Utica and Schenectady. And it's going to be a glow party, so please come out if you're available. And I'm Councilwoman Darlene Neal. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Martin, we also have Chairperson Witherspoon.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I just have a question, council member. Greetings. Why are people being disqualified for having, do you know, the?
They contribute to the ballot. Yeah, they should not.
Oh,
But that puts everyone at sometime, oh, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Sometime, you would be disqualified just because you make $20 extra to getting into the apartments, these new apartments. So they will kind of bait you with that. Then they'll say you make too much or you make too less. So with the House and Connect individual, she makes sure you don't tell them that your salary is correct for what you're applying for with that application. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Mealy. I have Chairperson Loman here, Martin, in the front.
I left one thing out with the Grace development. We did approve the upzoning, but deed specifically to the properties, not throughout the whole district. So it was deed specific.
Okay. Thank you. And just for some housekeeping, we had a few people walk in. Can you please just identify yourself for the roll? Thank you. Thank you. My apologies. All right. Are there any other member updates? Wait, hold on. Okay, so Chairperson Camacho for a question for CB5.
I know that you guys approved that, but a lot of times I'm just curious, a lot of developers come and they build or request that they want support in regards to building apartments, 1 and 2 bedrooms. I'm Latino. I come with a family. I don't come with a dog, or I don't come with roommates because I'm no longer in college. I come with family. Our schools are under-enrolled. The people that are moving into these places can't afford to live there. It's just for failure for 1 and 2 bedrooms. And all our families are in shelters. So we really need to focus on putting priorities on families. And also, even if the developers don't request it, put it in writing and keep fighting, because my kids are getting priced out. And the community is changing in our schools. They keep asking, and we have people coming in here with a different agenda. And my agenda is the hood. I lived in the hood, and I still do. So we really need to fight and also let our borough president know that this is what we want and this is what we need. We need family-oriented rooms. So we really need to, when they come there and says, whatever happened to the 3 and the 4 bedrooms for our family and our kids. So I'm just curious on how people always measuring the floor that this costs X amount of, our kids cost money, so we really need to get them kids going on, so.
Thank you for your point. Did you have a question for the chairperson, or you just wanted to? Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Camacho.
Okay, so before you, for the record, you wanted to see whether there was an indication of more larger apartments, 3-bedroom, 4 bedrooms, et cetera. Okay, just
Thank
for
you,
the
Mr.
camera.
Camacho. When we have them come before the land use, we vet them, right? We not only want studios and 1-bedrooms, actually conferring with City Councilwoman Sandy Nerves, she had them include 3 bedrooms into this project. We know parking is no longer a requirement, but they came to us with parking. Studios, we do need some studios, but we don't want senior cells, right? We call them senior cells. when it's 350, 375. So we asked them to go up to at least 400 and 450. So we vet them. We have kids that come home from school that can't afford the big rent. So we do have to balance it out by having studios, 1 bedrooms and 2 bedrooms, because our kids don't have any place to live. I was born in Brownsville, live in East New York. So my sentiments exactly. But I want you to know this project is a good project for us because they thought about our community. And like I said, we push back when it's not conducive to our community. So everything that you're saying, we vetted them and we're holding them to the fire for the things that you said. You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Did we have a question or comment from Council District 42? Okay. And then Lucy, did you have your hand up? Okay.
Yeah, just
So-
want to let everyone know that our office is relocated as of the end of December. We're now at 1199 Elton Street, close to the Gateway Mall section of East New York. If anyone needs to reach us, or our contact information is still the same, but the physical address has relocated. So want to make sure everyone's aware of that.
And you said that was 1199 Elton Street? Thank you so much. Do we have any other member updates? Okay, we have here, I'm so sorry, you're from Community Board.
Hi, my name is Deborah Williams. I'm vice chair, I'm second
16.
vice chair in CB 16. And I just want maybe those who know or don't know, we were without a district manager and now we have one. So I'm glad for that. I just wanted to bring that out. Her name is Sidoni Thompson.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Okay. Any other member updates? Seeing none, we will move on to our unfinished business. As you all know, we had a presentation from AIM Up last month. We did not take a vote. Just wondering if there is a motion to be put on the floor. Going once, going twice. Seeing none, we will move on to communications and reports. You all received the board attendance that we asked for. You also received the bylaws as well. And so the floor is yours for Borough Board members who want to comment on the same, if at all. Just for clarity, for some folks who don't know, we have been having issues with absences, mostly from the council member side, but also from community board side, and it has been affecting the votes. And so the members have requested a report of the attendance for 2024. So we provided that for this month. Unfortunately, as you have reviewed, there's nothing in the bylaws that's a penalty for not coming. There's not a way for us to remove folks, but you all as a body can discuss what, if anything, any conversations we need to have. And so the reason why we gave the attendance was because it was a member request. And so the floor is you guys for any conversations we want to have about that. Chairperson Baptiste.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And I do want to thank the Borough President's Office, and I want to thank all the other members who voted for this as well. Looking at the attendance, I think this is the most I've seen in quite a while. So perhaps the desired effect has been achieved with that. And I think this might show that this might be something that is good for us in terms of being consistent and transparent with this. So we're able to publish this on a monthly basis in terms of who is coming and who is not. Because I think it's important for us to be able to do this business. And I think it's important for the public to understand the sacrifices that are being made and that people are taking their responsibility seriously as well.
So is that a motion, Chairperson?
Yes, it is.
So I have a second for a motion for the attendance to be promulgated and published. I have a question for clarity. When you say published, to the Borough Board members in the same way that we did it via email, or like further publishing other than the minutes? Because we do have, I want to be clear, we do have the minutes that attest to who has arrived. It does not say who was absent, but the board as a body has the right to all of the documents of the board. So the board can receive attendance as we've given it to you, absence and present. And so if the request is to publish it, that would have to be a recommendation of the board.
Okay, so if I can clarify that.
Thank
To publish this, and also when I say publish, on the Borough President's website as well.
Okay. Do we have a second? Is there a point of clarity? Okay. Sorry, I almost said chairperson. Councilmember Mealy has a question for clarity. No, no one to exclude. So no, we can't take off anyone. I want to say November or October, the question was, is there any mechanism for any members who do not show up? So the clarity is that there is no mechanism because the statute puts who are members and our bylaws don't have a mechanism. So unfortunately, if folks don't show up, this is the most that we can do where you're publishing the attendance and kind of talking about it. So that was the point of clarity of we're not able to remove anyone, we're not able to punish anyone, but the attendance records were requested. And so at this point, we can discuss what, if anything, the board wants to do. So now Chairperson Baptiste put a motion on the floor for a monthly publishing on the Borough President's website of the attendance. That motion has been seconded, and so we would have to, one, have a discussion if we want to have a discussion, but also take a vote on that. And it would just be publishing who all has attended the Borough Board meeting for that month. So the question was, have our meetings been put? Correct. So this is something more than just the minutes. The minutes have everyone who attended by name and by representation, but it does not have who was absent. And so the attendance records would have an indication of whether, and what, to be clear, the attendance records don't have names, but it says Council District 33, 1 or 0, which would show whether you were present or not, and it goes down the list. And so the motion on the floor is to publish that record. So now that we have the clarification, is there any discussion on this motion? Chairperson Camacho.
Motion, but I know that under the city charter, you have to be in good standards in order to be, it's not in the Borough Board's bylaws, but you have to be in good standards in order to be with the Borough Boards, because that's on the city charter.
I don't know of that provision off the top of my head. I can happily look it up and
yes.
promulgate it.
I'll also send you a copy if you want to highlight it.
Thank you. I don't know of anything saying it has to be in good standing, but we all know our civic duty as members of this board. And so the point doesn't go moot. We should be in good standing for Brooklyn, and we should be present for these discussions. Are you asking to be recognized,
Oh,
Chairperson?
Camacho, and yes, and to be fair, a lot of the board members, chairpersons are here, but we want council persons, constituents to be present because they are part of the quorum, and that's why we're not having a quorum. So if you're holding us responsible and we don't get paid for it, and then they do, then they need to come to these meetings too. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other points of discussion before we do a roll call vote? I have
I
District
know there was
42.
one meeting where we didn't have capacity to attend, but I believe we were trying to find out if there was a way to get an excused absence, and we didn't see anything to that effect.
So there's nothing in the bylaws. Generally, what we do is when we're sending out the agenda and the notice for the meetings, we do announce when we're taking roll if folks have already told us that they would not be here. And we note for the record, excused, but there is not a such thing as excuse, if that makes sense. We just note it for the record. As open meetings law, we have it recorded, but we do try to make that note if we're told beforehand whether someone can make it or not. And it doesn't matter whether it's council member or community board, whoever emails in and says, I won't be able to attend, we make that note when we're taking the roll. Chairperson Baptiste?
No, just as a final comment to that question, actually. I mean, part of the problem with even having excusable policy is the fact that you can designate up to 3 or 4 people for this. So it's just a matter of, it's really very hard to say that I can never find somebody to come. And this is not always, and definitely understanding that things happen every once in a while. So you may miss one, you may miss two, but there are councils and board members that I have yet to see here. So I think this is the reason why we need to do this and make this step towards transparency. And again, life happens, we understand, but if it happens every month, then perhaps people should be considered priorities.
Chairperson Scavo, would you like to be recognized? Please take the mic.
It's a horrible feeling coming here all these years. And I come from like out towards Coney Island, as does 13. It's a big trip for us. But when I come here month after month, and certain boards are never here, certain council members never here, it's very unnerving to me because I could never do it. You know, like I'll sit and say, why would I bother? It's cold, it's damp, I'll stay home too. I just don't have that makeup to do it. So I come. But then again, I look at this and I go, that board has never even been here once the whole year. So I just feel maybe if we put it on the website, maybe certain people will be embarrassed by it. And next month they'll send reps. Because as Fred said, it's not like you could only name one rep. You could name 4 or 5 people to represent you. So there's always going to be someone that can come. But for a board or a council member to never come, it's wrong.
Thank you. Do we have any other points of discussion? I also want to state for clarity, it's not the council member per se, it's council member or designee, the chairperson or designee, so I don't want anyone to feel embarrassed, but it is the representation of the office that should be here. Abraham, thank you.
Thank you. I guess my question would be, how would it look on the attendance tonight with myself or my colleague from District 43?
Correct. So
Yeah.
because I don't have the designee form, I did ask. Unfortunately, our community board department was not able to respond. If we already have your designee form, it will say that you were present for your department. If we don't have one, we will still make a note that you were here, but unfortunately, it would count as an absence if you're not listed on the designee form. So you will be in the minutes, but unfortunately, it would not count as attendance if your name is not on the designee form. So, I mean, hoping that it was my clerical error that you guys were not on here and you guys could be counted as present. But if not, we will let you know, request an updated designee form, and we will update our records here. Do we have any other points of discussion before we go for a roll call vote? Seeing none, I will start with the community boards. So for clarity on the vote on the floor is to have a published attendance record monthly on the Borough President's website for our monthly Borough Board meetings. Community Board 1, Community Board 2, Community Board 3, Community Board 4, Community Board 5, Community Board 6, Community Board 7, Community Board 8, Community Board 9, Community Board 10, Community Board 11, Community Board 12, Community Board 13, Community Board 14, Community Board 15, Community Board 16, Community Board 17, Community Board 18, Now we're going to move on to the council districts. Council District 33. Council District 34. Council District 35. Council District 36. Council District 37. Is that a yes for the vote? Thank you. Council District 38. Council District 39. Council District 40. Council District 41. Council District 42. Council District 43. Council District 44. Council District 45. Council District 46. Council District 47. Council District 48. Council District 50. And for the Borough President, I vote yes. So we have 21 yes votes, 0 nays, and 5 abstentions. The vote passes. See what happens when we're present and we can vote on things? Okay. Now we're going to move on to other business. So at the last meeting and the penultimate meeting, we talked about the expiration of open meeting law hybrid provision. I do want to make a note that does not expire this July. It was extended during the last budget. It's set to expire in 2026. That doesn't mean we can't have the conversation today, but I did want to make that note because I might have misspoke at the last meeting. And the review of the board's bylaws, which you guys received. Do we have any point of discussion on the expiration of the open meetings law now that that clarity is for next summer and not this one? Chairperson Baptiste?
There's definitely no need for us to wait till next year to do that.
No, of course.
So perhaps it's something, we may not consider it this month, but I would like to see that on the agenda again,
Okay.
where we can start the idea generation in terms of making sure we can have reasonable conversations. I think that there are a number of other boards, I'm not gonna speak for anyone, who share the dissatisfaction with what was provided in terms of hybrid options. And I think that also it's something that needs to be a funded mandate as well. There needs to be money put into this because I understand that I know my board has issues with that as well as other boards as well in terms of being able to support hybrid meetings. So this should be something where, one, we want to make them useful, where they're flexible enough to be employed, where we can have those decisions that are done on the local level because we know our communities, we know our boards, and we know when these things are useful or not useful to have them either hybrid or Zoom. So I would like to see that conversation. I would like to see that discussion about funding as well. But thank you for that information and looking forward to continuing conversation about that.
Thank you so much. Do we have any other points of discussion regarding the open meetings law and the hybrid option? Chairperson Camacho?
Especially when it's extreme circumstances, like some of our board members that a long time that just passed away. She had cancer, but she was still continued to do her hybrids and listen to the meetings. So it was something that was touching just to hear their voice and know that they were a pillar in our community. And, you know, it was something that kept them going and kept them moving through their chemo. So it was something that they, and just X them out and say that they no longer no good. I don't think it's not good for us and not good for the community at large.
Thank you. Do we have any other? Chairperson Loman?
Thank you. I agree with Board Member Fred. For CB9, because as you all know, we have board members, especially one in particular that's in a wheelchair. We're in a building that is not ADA accessible. I've been fighting and I speak about it at every meeting that people are willing to listen and hear me, that Ms. Evelyn Pugh can't come to any of our meetings or anybody else who is challenged with a wheelchair. We excuse her, but she wanted to do her due diligence by performing her civic duties, and she cannot. So funding is definitely needed so that the boards can have hybrid, and that's the only way we can succeed going forward.
Thank you. Chairperson Buserit, do you want to be recognized? Yes.
Thank you. This is related to hybrid. One of the things that were passed in the state law was that it has to be like extraordinary circumstances, and folks who have disabilities fit under that definition. But this is a few months back, maybe it was October, someone from the Mayor's Office of Disabilities came to us and said that we had to like do a protocol around access for folks who had disabilities, and information was going to be sent to the board offices so that we could create a plan. I'm not sure if anyone else's board office received anything, but we didn't, so we can't do this plan that's supposed to be required of all agencies, including community boards. So that's one thing, but it's connected to the issue of hybrid. And then I have another issue that's off topic, but I just want to have a question for the Borough Hall. Okay, so is there a protocol if a board member who's currently sitting passes away while in office, while serving?
So that would produce a vacancy, and under the charter, the borough president is responsible for filling those vacancies.
Understood. No, I'm saying, is there like some sort of notification that needs to go to Borough Hall that says that this person has passed away? And then is there some recognition from Borough Hall to the person and their family? That's
So the first answer I absolutely have, yes, there should be a communication to our office. I don't think we have a protocol for that, but generally you guys have been great with letting us know. For the second one, I can't answer that, but if there is anything that we do know regarding board member service, the borough president is often willing to have those things. I do have my superiors here, and so if they want to speak to that, if a board member passes away, if there's some sort of recognition that the borough president does. I'm sorry, Laura, please wait for the microphone for the recording. That's our Chief of Staff, Laura Imperiali, and all of you should know our Deputy Borough President, Kim Council.
Hi. So we do get requests for when people pass away, and we do condolence letters and thank you for your service. So I would say the chairs or the DMs should let us know if someone passed away and let us know their years of service and if they were chairing a committee or, you know, just something. So we do those letters quite frequently. So
Thank you.
thank you.
So I guess the answer to Chairperson Buserit's question is, one, yes, you should absolutely let us know so that way we know there's a vacancy, but also so that way we can give the appropriate recognition for the years of service and for the leadership on the board, if any. Okay, I'm going to give it to the council member first, and then Lucy Mujica Diaz, and then Chairperson Witherspoon.
Yep, I just wanted to clarify, once that vacancy open, will it only be the borough president will fulfill it? It wouldn't go back to the elected official to fulfill it?
So it depends what the line is, but the charter does say it's our job to fill it. Obviously, we do it in consultation with the council members if it's a council member line, but that's why this information is super important, because we do have the designations based on the line. So if, for example, it were a person on your seat and we got that information, the borough president, in consultation with you, Council Member Mealy, I'm so sorry, would let you know, so that way if you do have another pick or if we have like a list of people, you guys can make that appointment in consultation with each other based on your recommendation. If it's a borough president seat, he would just fulfill that appointment on his own.
Okay, I hope that happened, because when vacancies do open, sometime borough president, or we just leave it open. So
So,
as quick as the borough president can let the elected officials know, we can fulfill it.
correct. I think for us, sometimes timing matters. So for example, if we're in the middle of application season, we might not fill that vacancy until we look at the application pool if it's so close. If it's in mid-year and we already have new applications, we might just re-up those applications. But again, it's at the discretion of the borough president. So as you noted, there have been times where there have been lingering vacancies. We have been working to try to make sure that those things don't stay open. But that's where the communication definitely should be fluid, because sometimes it might pass our books or pass our minds. And so we'll definitely make a note of that and try to be better to make sure that we're not having long-term vacancies. So I said Lucy Mujica Diaz and then Chairperson Witherspoon? Yes.
I'm a little confused with the discussion of the open meetings law for community boards. First, let's start with that. Because in our bylaws, if there's extraordinary circumstances, we excuse the member to be on Zoom, but they're not part of the quorum, but they can vote if they were excused. So we've been doing that for a while. Buying 2 owls is $200, so you can have a hybrid meeting. So I don't comprehend where the problem is at. So I guess my other question is also to help us at Borough Hall, why can't we do hybrid meetings here for these meetings?
So for the first question, you're absolutely right. The law leaves open what extraordinary circumstances is. So that is up to the public body to define that in their resolution. The reason why Borough Board does not have hybrid meetings is because Borough Board did not vote to have a resolution. So I was not part of the chair at the time, but my understanding is there was no vote for a resolution for hybrid. And so therefore we don't have one.
So maybe we should consider that. That will help our attendance moving forward.
And I think
And I
that,
don't understand why not when on WebEx today, but that's a whole different story.
yeah, but I think that is part of why Chairperson Baptiste wanted to bring this up. So that way, if the board wanted to revisit this conversation, because there have been 2 extensions of this already. And so the thought process may have been, this is not going to be a long-term thing. We want to keep coming in person. But if we do see that it might help our attendance, it might be something that we want to do, the Borough Board is free to make whatever motions that they want to do. As the chair, we don't often push for votes, but if someone is moving to create this resolution and the board so wishes to do that, we are happy to
Okay,
entertain the
because
vote.
Fred started off the conversation was about community boards. He didn't start the conversation about Borough Board.
Correct,
So that's why I have a 2-part to that.
of course.
So again, back to the community boards, I just want to let them know, you can buy owls and they're $200 and you can do a nice Zoom. If anyone needs a training on them, reach out to me, okay? And place it in your bylaws. For example, I think, I forgot his name, Camacho said he has a woman with a wheelchair. We have one as well. So if we have quorum in the room, we excuse her on Zoom for depending, the weather's bad like a snow, and then she's allowed to vote. So I don't understand where the problem is with the community boards, but I do understand the problem here at Borough Board, and we should do a resolution stating and follow the hybrid. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairperson Scavo. Oh, sorry, Chairperson Witherspoon, then Chairperson Scavo, and then Chairperson Loman, and then Chairperson Baptiste. You guys are gonna give me a run for my money.
You're doing well.
Thank you.
Excuse me. So
Thank you.
I also just wanted to highlight the times in the winter when you have inclement weather.
Correct.
And we had a bad day or night not too long ago. So that should be a consideration, as well as our seniors who are very vibrant in my community. And again, in the fall and the winter, when the sun is setting at 5 a.m. and, all that consideration in terms of them coming out late, these are things that we are hearing. I think that should be something considered as well. We'd hate for them to be excluded when they could be a part of.
Thank you so much. Chairperson Scaville, and then Chairperson Loman. And then Chairperson Baptiste.
If I remember correctly, we had this discussion. Gregory Lewis
Yes.
brought this discussion up. Now, it was said we need a quorum here to have hybrid.
Absolutely.
We can't barely get a quorum here to begin with. Once you say we're going to go hybrid, everybody will be sitting at home. Who's going to be here? So then we're right back to square one, that we never have a quorum, that nothing will ever get accomplished.
That's a good point. Thank you.
I just wanted to make note that at CB5, it was stated that the attendance is going to be given to the borough president, because I want him to look at the attendance before he reappoints, because people who are not coming to the meeting, they don't want to fulfill their civic duty. I don't feel they should be on the board. And we've been having a little problem as far as quorum and some executive board meetings. So I just want to go on the record to say that I have requested the district manager to give a whole year of attendance so that you guys will have something to gauge from. I also spoke to Councilmember Banks and Councilmember Nurse, and they're on board with the same thing. So for the record.
Thank you. Chairperson Baptiste, and then Chairperson Camacho. Withdraw? Okay. Chairperson Camacho, thank you for that, Chairperson Baptiste.
Well, as the chair, I review on my district office meeting, I review the attendance. I submit a request. I put it on the board to vote on it. And on the full board, we vote and we send a letter directly to the borough president. If he puts them on, then he puts them on. We did our job. That's how it goes. If there's any, what you call that, buddies, the friends of who that know who, he put them on, it's on him. I did my job as the chair. And that's what we're here to do, our job, because we represent the community. And if he's part of the community, he should be there. And that's what I do. And maybe that's what you guys or everyone should do. I'll go through the full board and recommend and let his time and attendance know. I know there's 3 under the city charter is 3 consecutive unexcused and 3 absences. Then you can do your due diligence. Remember, you only meet 10 months. So I use the city charter as my goal to let the borough president do his job. Thank you.
Thank you. Lucy Mujica Diaz.
Back to Teresa's point, thank you, Teresa, but there could be a reason why they want to go completely on WebEx one day. For example, if we're coming here and there's, or previously there could be a storm and the borough president's office decides to change it to WebEx all the way. So I think we should still consider that on the table moving forward. We can discuss it in the future, like Fred said. Back to Camacho's point, place it in your bylaws. We have in our bylaws 3 or more consecutive meetings. The chair sends a letter to that person, tells the person, come to us and let us know why you have been attending these meetings. The person says, oh, I just didn't want to go. Well, then happy Merry Christmas. We send a letter to the borough president's office after voting of the full board and you're removed. So to not remove these members for not attending these meetings, the borough president is not going to stop you. He's going to follow what your bylaws say. If you vote them out at your full board, you vote them out. You can't depend on him to wait to the following April or his office to do that. When I was chair, I removed 3 or 4 people and had the full board vote on them. And as Camacho said, sometimes these are your friends, but you know what? Term limits is here, baby. In 2 years, there's going to be a whole turnaround of people. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to be recognized on this point? Would we like to move on to bylaws? Okay, so moving on to bylaws. Does anyone want to be recognized on bylaws? Lucy Mujica Diaz.
I didn't read the bylaws, but is there anything in the bylaws indicating that the material of these meetings should be placed on the website? I looked in your website, I noticed that the meeting date is there. It does not have a link for a WebEx. Let's start with that. Secondly, the previous meetings, are they posted on the website, the minutes? Because if Fred just or they just voted on to have the attendance records to shame people, why aren't the minutes on the website as well? Not to shame anyone, for the public to be informed of what happens at these meetings. Thank you.
Okay, so two things. We are, I believe, behind on posting our Borough Board YouTube. Unfortunately, we did lose our videographer person and our person who posts the things, so we're trying to work on that. We do know that we're behind. It's a mess. Don't even ask. So the videos go up as our minutes per the open meetings law. We type up our minutes for you guys and for our record. They're foilable if people ask for them. But per the open meetings law, if we post the full recording, that suffices as the minutes. And so we are a little bit behind on that. With this motion, I will try to make sure that all the past meetings are posted so that way they correlate with attendance as well moving forward. But I do want to acknowledge that we have been a little bit behind and we are working on that. But that would be found on the Borough Board, the Borough President's YouTube channel. Chairperson Baptiste. No, so I just want to make sure that, no, it's okay. So just to be clear, Borough Board is not a function of our office per se. We are the chair, but we want to distinguish our ULURP and our our office hearings and Borough Board. So Borough Board is a compilation of elected officials and community boards. So that's why it lives on the YouTube rather than the website. We can put the meetings on our calendar with the WebEx link, with the agenda, but the minutes would not live on our website because our website has our ULURP and other hearings. We have the YouTube for the Borough Board. It also has our ULURP as well, but that's just how our comms has designated it. If there's a compelling reason that you all think it should live on our website as well as the YouTube, again, the Borough Board can feel free to vote whatever it is that they want, but we've made that separation in this administration so that way it lives on the YouTube and not the website. Because if there is a turnover, the website often gets wiped. The YouTube is not. And so that is like a point of practicality, if that makes sense, but that there is that separation. 1 second, Lucy. Chairperson Buseroth had his hand up. Oh, sorry, Chairperson Baptiste first. So sorry, I'm out of order.
Actually, I'll defer because I actually have a motion I want to put on the floor, but I don't want to cut anybody else.
Okay. So Chairperson Buseroth, then Lucy, and then we'll go back to Baptiste and then Jenny. Okay, so can you yield so that way we can just try to get this issue done? Lucy.
It doesn't have to live on your site, but there should be a link somewhere, because I'm looking right here. There
Yeah.
should be a link somewhere that says these meetings are, click here,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to go to YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's here, I can't find it.
No, so I don't know what is on the calendar. I do know when we send out the agendas, they live on the agenda. But I can talk to comms in the community board department about making that link available on the actual calendar. So that way, if members of the public are looking to join, they have that access, because I don't believe the agenda is posted on our website either. Again, I'm not sure, but this is my belief that the agenda is sent to the Borough Board members. When there's a hearing, obviously it's posted in the city record and all of that. But because these meetings should be public meetings, those links should live on the calendar as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Jenny, I'm sorry.
Yes, so after looking for a while on Google, right, I did find the video on YouTube, but when I tried to listen to it, I couldn't hear what the people were saying. I could only hear what you were saying, Corina. So I would like to ask for the sound quality to be good if it's going to be posted anywhere because I tried to review them. I'm new and learning. And when I opened the YouTube, I could not hear, what the people were saying.
Yeah.
That would be all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny, for that point. That is why, and I'm sure you guys are tired of hearing me say this, I say, please do not speak unless you have the microphone, because unfortunately, the recording does not pick up unless you have the microphone. So when folks are speaking out of turn, when folks don't wait for the microphone, members of the public and people who want to know what's going on in the meeting have that trouble hearing. So I will say it until I'm blue in the face every single meeting. Please wait for the microphone. It helps the members of the public and others who want to hear what's happening, because if not, we cannot hear it in the recording. Chairperson Buserith and then Chairperson Baptiste.
So the first point I want to make is related actually to this. I mean, the way to resolve this is, couldn't OTI create a website for the Borough Board that's managed by the Borough President because they're the chair? That's the first question. And then the other thing is that looking at the bylaws, I mean, I've been on the Borough Board for several years and I had not known that there have been committees. So I just feel like we should review this and strike this because it has no function. We operate as a committee as a whole. So I would, as we move forward, I would think that should be an amendment we should make to these bylaws.
Thank you for that. So to your question about OTI, in a perfect world, sure, they could do anything that we ask them to. In a practical world, that's going to be tough. We have trouble with OTI managing our own website, and we just migrated it. Not to say that it's impossible. We continuously contact them and try to talk to them about these things. And so that could be a point that we bring them. I just think that it might be harder just because Borough Board is an entity, but also isn't. And so that's why we have the YouTube. It's a statutory entity, but other than these monthly meetings, there's not like quarterly reports, annual reports, that sort of thing. And so I think it might be a little bit hard, but again, if it's the will of the board, we are happy to make whatever requests that the board wants to make. To the second point about the bylaws, these are from 1977. So those committees are there. You all can feel free to pick up that committee. So there is a committee for rules. If you guys want to have that committee for rules, look at the bylaws and say like, we're striking these provisions, we're adding this, happy to do that. There's also a provision that says that the borough president as chair can establish any special committees. Like, it's just antiquated, and in the same way that you all practice in your community boards, that you review the bylaws every so often, whether it's annually, biannually, however, we should be doing the same. So the reason why we gave these bylaws is for you all to look at them and say, this don't make sense, this makes sense, we actually need this thing. And so happy to have that conversation. And again, if it's the will of the board, we are happy to do it. Chairperson Baptiste. Y'all, I'm trying to get y'all out of here by 7:30 and y'all just keep on.
So let's do this very quickly. Thank you for that intro. I move that the Borough Board establish a committee to review the bylaws and develop recommendations to revise.
Do we have a second? Chairperson Camacho seconds that motion. I do want to note that we might have lost some people, but we had a really good attendance number. Motion. You know what? Maybe next time I'm going to come with brownies or something because y'all do real good. Second Camacho. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we have quorum. Do we need a roll call vote for this? All in favor, please say aye. Show of hands. Aye. Any objections? Any abstentions? 1, 2, 3, hold on. 34? What's your district? 34, 43, 50, abstain. Motion passes. We have 16 yeses and 3 abstentions. Okay. Yes. Okay. Maybe. Bylaws. We can send out an email and allow any other volunteers. I don't think that there's anything in the bylaws. I would have to look again that says how many members need to be on the committee. It just says on any committee. So there's 4 established committees. I don't see a provision that says what number of members. And so we'll send out an email, whoever wants to volunteer. We can also set up Zoom, WebEx, whatever it is for those meetings, because as subcommittees, those can be hybrid. And yes, that will conclude 7. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Oh, any objections? We're adjourned. Thank you.